store. All right, y'all. Thank you for obliging me a couple extra minutes here. I want to just run through this formula. It's the Your Daily Number formula. And the reason I'm doing this is because Dusty mentioned it yesterday. So he talked about, like, what's your daily number? Yes, Allison?
I just want to say I'm doing all this on Thursday, so stop it.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, I went to the trouble of writing all this out. We're going through it. We're going to do it. Now, who remembers what Dusty said was his ideal daily number for his team members?
You said 12? Oh, yeah, dang.
60. Yes, he said 12. So what does that mean? Let's just make it, everybody knows what that means? 12 what? Well, 12 what?
Conversation.
12 conversations. And he specifically said real estate conversations. What's the difference between a conversation and a real estate conversation?
I'm not calling mom to talk about our groceries.
Exactly. But that may qualify if at the end of that conversation about groceries, you say, hey, Mom, you know, while you're at the grocery store, be on the lookout for people that are looking to buy and sell. Or have you heard anybody at church talk about buying and selling real estate lately? Then that qualifies immediately as a real estate related conversation. Diana has a great quote from a Lunch and Learn years past about how if you're not somehow bringing real estate into the conversation, then you're socializing. Like if you're networking and you're not talking about who you are and what you do, you're socializing. And so the key is to merge those two, where you're interested in the person you're talking to, what they do for a living, how many kids they have, where they came here from, and then it'll switch to you. They'll say, well, what do you do for a living? And then it's your turn. And then that becomes a real estate related conversation and also becomes prospecting versus, let's say, networking. And then the other key element, if you're doing this face-to-face, these people have to go into your database. If they don't go into your data bank, your database/data bank, then again, you run that risk of socializing versus actually prospecting. Now, Dusty was talking about the phone yesterday. They're big phone prospectors, as you can hear from what's going on, or you heard and seen this morning. So is my team. We just believe in pounding the phones. Now, this would also work face-to-face. So think about that. It can be a mixture of phone and face-to-face conversations, okay? I want to, before we get too deep into this is what BCAR roughly came out with as, I believe, their average sales price for last month. Everybody confirm or deny that? It was somewhere around this number. We could do an average commission of 2.4%. So let's work on that. We could even take it to a step further and go, all right, once we figure out what the commission is on this, then we know where it falls on the JPAR scale in terms of compensation, right? Now, Dusty also mentioned, which I also talk about a lot, is that success in real estate is a math equation. The path is math. The path is math. I want you to look at this down here. He talked about tracking and measuring numbers. Tracking and measuring numbers. Allison, am I going through your whole presentation?
Yeah, you are. So can I ask you?
No, because they need to hear it again. They're only absorbing like 5 to 10% of this. So tracking and measuring removes uncertainty. What do you think the biggest source of anxiety is for real estate agents that are 100% commission-based sales? How am I going to pay my car note? How am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to pay my rent? Where's the money going to come from? That's the wrong approach when you know that the answers to all those questions are a math equation. Now, many real estate agents are like me. You know, they're not that left brain analytical, they're a right brain creative. And so, like, if somebody hands me a P&L somebody even, like I have, like, I don't even know what you call it, like mathematical dyslexia. I have a hard time figuring out like tip amounts. Sometimes when I'm at a place picking up a to-go order or something like that, just the numbers stress me out, and I'm sitting there, it's a mess, it's embarrassing. So I have a real problem with numbers, I always have since I was a kid. I'm overwhelmed by them and all that stuff, so that's an extreme example, but in general, real estate agents they just want to socialize. We're social creatures. We just want to like, hey, let's hang out, let's talk, and hopefully all this will take care of itself. And the problem with that is that it leads to this great deal of uncertainty. And you will hear this once we, please, God, let us get back to conventions because I love them. But when we start going to conventions with each other, when we hear these people from the stage, you're going to hear all this stuff again and again. It's going to really start sinking into your brain then. But they'll talk about the commission breath. Have you heard of commission breath, Stephanie? Can I smell your breath?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't hurt to ask. What is commission breath? What do you think commission breath is?
When people can sense that you're just thinking about them as a number.
Yes. You know, it's this.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay. I get it now.
I'm sure your breath is wonderful. It reeks of desperation. It reeks of desperation. And you can't, when you have that financial stress weighing on you, you can't be an advocate. Like, I'm in a great place because I'm not stressed about money. So whether my people buy this property or not, if it's the right one or not, I mean, I can just tell them as honestly as they ask me. It's one of the things that I pride myself on working with home buyers, or home sellers for that matter. If you ask me a question, you're going to get an honest answer. Jason, what do you think about this house? Ooh, I think it's a lot of work. You comfortable with this road noise here? My thought process is this. If these people buy a house and they're not 100% satisfied with it, it's on me. Whether I like it or not, whether I deserve it or not, whether they ask me my opinion or not, it's on me. I'm not going to get any referrals if at the end of the day they're not pulling up in their driveway after work going, I'm home. So think about that. But it's really hard to do that. I'm not saying that I've never had commission breath. Oh, yes, I have. I'm not saying I've never been desperate or broke or financially stressed. Oh, yes, I have. I also have had a Diana, which has helped. She's never going to let us go hungry. So let's look at this real quick. I want to focus on this. If somebody would just do some math and figure out what's the gross commission on this? 6,936. All right. So where does that fall on the JPAR compensation scale? Like, what do we subtract out of? Is it five? Is it 599? Where's foot? Is it 599? Huh?
I think it's I could be very wrong. Possibly very wrong.
All right. Let's double check it just to be certain and see. And this is the other, just a plug. I don't have to plug you guys because you're already in the system. But this is another blessing of our system, is the transparency of compensation, which you don't find at 99.9% of the other companies out there. They can tell you generally what they're going to net, but they can't tell you exactly. Here, you always know your numbers to the penny, which I think is extremely valuable. Where is this dang thing? Here it is.
I got 6936.
6936. All right, and then so this commission is between $5,000 and $7,000, so it's a $599. So we'll subtract the $599. All right, and so what's this math? What's 6,936 minus $599 to give us our net? This is our GCI. What's our net?
6337.
Okay. I just want to focus on this number for a second. Is this, what would this do? What is this going to do for you?
I'm done for the month.
I mean, seriously. We need to focus on like this number should be front and center. Hannah knows I'm a big fan of getting these markers and writing on your bathroom mirror. You can write this formula up there, your daily number up there. What's at stake? What is at stake? So we're going to look at this from a transaction standpoint and figure out. I mean, we've got JPAR's about to come out with we've already got the business plan, but there's another training document they're putting together all the formulas, like the formula to figure out what you're worth an hour. So to some people, that helps. Like it's just really hyper intensive. Marcus, just see it up here in the front.
You guys hit my name, Marcus.
Just, I'll let you know if I see a trickle of blood come out of your
You're
mouth.
right next to me anyway. So you can put your stuff there.
When I'm talking to people about phone prospecting, and they're like, all right, all I got to do is make 40 conversations, and I'm going to just guarantee myself this money. A lot of times people say, oh, that's easy. I just get on the phone and make 40 dials, and that's going to earn me $6,300. And the act of saying it and talking about it and thinking about it is very different than actually doing it. So the work that we do is extremely difficult. I look at this number and go, holy crap, I got to call 40 people to get to one sale? This is what I was talking about, Robin, where you see the reality of real estate and go, can I do this? Can I do it? Now here's the good news, is that as we go through this, if you do, just take this number and multiply it by 10 or 20 or 15 or whatever, how many deals you want to do in the next 12 months? You don't have to do 50 deals to make a great living, is my point. One deal a month.
75.
So 40 people, can you talk to 40 people in
That's
a
one phone
month?
call a day.
One phone call a day. All right, so I'm already starting to see how this breaks down. When I look out and I start talking about 40 conversations, everybody's going, oh my God. I wish somebody had told me this before I went through 60 hours of the course. But you start breaking it down and it becomes less obtrusive. It's less stressful. It's
Less intimidating.
yeah, and one of our core beliefs at this company is, in order to get big, you need to get small. Like you need to narrow your focus. You need to narrow your focus. So we're going to go through this, or maybe we won't go through this, because Allison's giving me the stank eye. But this is basically it. If y'all want to come here and take a picture of this, and then we can go through the math again on Thursday when Allison runs through it. But I just wanted you to see this because Dusty was talking about his daily number. What's your daily number? This is how you figure it out. Now, just to go through a couple more little points, you got 10 months and 22 days. So we're accounting for time off, vacation, stuff, life that gets in the way. 40 conversations to one sale is an industry average. Of course, your conversion rate could be much higher than that.
That is literally $158 per phone call. Like, I will take the worst rooming ever on the phone for 5 minutes for $158.
Yeah, so
It is so helpful to look at it that way.
So getting it up, like the importance of getting it up and having it visible is extremely, extremely important. Okay, so, there's agents who, they have their daily number up and they know that what's at stake for the day. So like if I make my numbers, I could either gain or lose $14,000 in a given day, depending on how many conversations I make. So it's really, this is just saying like, all right, so what do I want to do? What do I want to make? Do I just want to make $75,000 or do I want to make more? This is a beauty and a blessing of our industry. The only cap is the one you put on yourself, right? So just think about this. You could take all the uncertainty out of it, or you could say, listen, I've been doing this 60 or 90 days already. I'm not having any results, or I'm not having the results that I want. Well, let's go back to this. How many people are you talking to? All right, the last thing I wanted to mention is where did the people come from? And we're going to talk about my class that I'm teaching later this week is about filling that sales funnel. How do you get people into that funnel? How do you find people to talk to? But let's just say for the sake of argument that my daily number is 10. So I could have 5 people that I generate from the internet. For those of you who saw Jonathan talk yesterday afternoon, what did he say? Like the last 30 days he's generated like 60 free leads?
Yeah,
60? Was it in the last 30 days or was it longer?
No, it was the last 60.
Last 30 days he's generated 60 free leads. Now I got people I want to talk to at our company that are like, Jason, you said I could get free leads if I come to JPAR. You said that JPAR offers free leads. Yes, we do. And they're like, where are these leads? Well, this is a contact sport. You have to actually put in some work. Okay? I'm not just going to hand you 60 free leads on a silver platter. I want you to learn how to use our technology, learn how to use the tools, learn how to make a post, learn how to use social media, and the leads are just going to come in.
So
Okay.
I don't know if you already covered this, but I just like a month ago linked my website from KB Court, and whenever I promote somebody in brokerage's property, I always go and do the link from my website, and I've already got like several leads, and one of them is good. It's like 1 out of 9, so that's pretty good average. That she was actually looking at people who. You can make it to where when they click on your site, they have to put in their phone number and email, and then, those are leads. So.
Yeah. Yep. And listen, Jonathan also talked about his conversion ratio of those leads is about 4%. You might think, oh my gosh, 4%? But again, we don't need to close this many deals. But that's what makes this industry difficult, is that it takes a relentless pursuit. A relentless pursuit to find that 1 out of 9. To get that one sale out of 40 conversations. It takes grit. But it's just about how bad you want it. Now, the other thing that he talked about that I loved is that you have to be connected to what drives you in order to connect or activate this grit, this fire in your belly to get up every day and do these mundane, scary, anxiety, riddled activities. We got to conquer our fear of rejection every single day. It's an uphill battle every day. Uphill battle. But what is your definition of freedom? And we was talking about that. He was talking about the nobility of, people's big whys. People say, I just want my husband to have this, or I want my wife to have this, or I got a spouse that travels all the time and never gets to see the kids, and I want them to see the kids, and I've got a husband who's been working on the power lines, doing all these hurricanes, and he's just in harm's way every day, and I can't sleep at night, or my husband's going to get deployed, and I don't want him to get deployed. I don't want him to stay home. I want to be able to afford awesome insurance without having him to be in the military or whatever it is. And these people are crying. They're crying. And I'm going, oh my gosh. This person's connected to what drives them. But they get in. I give them a bunch of leads to call. These are like my team members, and they don't call them. They don't call them. All those tears, all that stuff. It's very, very sad. And I'm thinking, gosh, you had so much emotion. Where did all that go? It's not worth it. Like your husband's this dangerous career is not worth picking up the phone. You have the key to that freedom right there. And it's not it. They're not connected to it. Maybe they're connected to it like emotionally, I don't know, somewhere deep down inside, but it's not to the point of that it drives them.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so say you call or you email, you text and stuff like that, and they just keep saying no. How often would you call / text, email them if they're just very like, no, I was just browsing?
Yeah. So the magic
Touch
number,
once a week,
the magic number is somewhere between 7 and 15 touches. 7 and 15 touches. We've got a lot of folks out there on my team that will come to me. This is what happens, and people that are looking to join a team or on a team or whatever the situation may be, they come to me or Blake, or they'll come to Allison and they'll go, these leads are junk. These leads are junk. I had Kendall's mom was on our team once, and she said that to my face at a sales meeting, and I just about lost it. I had to step outside. I was like, oh my God. And when I look at her data, like the proof's in the database. So I'll go by and look at the database, and she's got 1 to 2 attempts. Like she's picked up the phone once or twice to call. Now this also plays into the importance of being a responsible data banker and going into your database and tracking and measuring and loading all the data in there. So if you don't go into your CRM and say, listen, and notate when you call somebody, how are you going to keep up with that frequency of attempts? Like to know where you're at. And then we'll have agents come back and go, oh my gosh, starting to get to that 6th to 8th attempt, and then, oh my God, they called me back. Right? They finally responded.
So I've got like, I ain't even gonna lie, I've got leads right now, and Allison's in here, she knows, so she sees my database. I've got leads I haven't touched in 26 days.
You have leads that you have not touched.
I have not touched, I have not texted, I have not called. I think they get an automated email, like when stuff, that they're interested in. But, and there's no excuse in that, and that's what I was telling my husband yesterday, like, it's not that I have junk leads, it's because I'm a junky real estate agent right now. But like, how often would you touch those that say no? Once a week? Do you touch them every 2 weeks? Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So different strokes for different folks. There are several real estate agents, whether they're on a team or they're single agents or whatever, that are in this phone prospecting, sales funnel game that have a 10 days of pain strategy.
Okay. So what's 10 days of pain?
So it's something you can Google, but there's different 10 days of pain strategies. But I would encourage you to Google and start looking through them. But it's like on day 1, they get an email, a text, and they get set up on a property alert. Day 2, they get this, that, the other thing. And so after 10 days, if they have not responded back, or there's been no phone conversation or anything, then they just stay on the drip.
Right.
They just stay on the drip.
So if you already have that campaign in CRM, so you can turn it on, it's in builds.
10 days of pain? Okay. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah. But we don't utilize a 10 days of pain strategy. Regular team, I want to look at number of attempts, and I also, if I go through the 10 days of pain and these people are still coming back to the site, they're still returning, they're still viable. If I go through a 7 to 15 touches and they aren't coming back to the site, that means their friend bought a house, they were curious, they wanted to check it on their lunch break, so it was a one and done. It's a one and done. But if they're coming back to the site and you've gone through your 10 days of pain, their wall's still up. They're not ready to take the wall down. Okay? Now there's several strategies that you can use to get through to an internet lead. And the way that you just go back, we always overcomplicate this. Like, just go back and ask yourself, like, how do people earn your trust? How do people earn your business? It's not a whole lot different than what these people are expecting of you. I'll look at what they're looking at. If they look at a property 3 times, I'm calling the listing agent going, hey, I've got a lead who's after this property. What can you tell me about it? What can you tell me about that's not in the MLS? And if I get nothing, maybe I'm digging a few more times. Like, listen, I need something. Give me something.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is unique to this property? Give me some information to take back to them so I can build rapport and we can get a sale here. And a lot of times they'll tell you, oh my gosh, the seller is moving in a week and they're going to be paying 2 payments at that point. And so I think we got a price reduction on the horizon, or they're willing to, pay some closing costs, or there's something there that they can tell you. There's something they can tell you. They're willing to throw this in, they're willing to do this, they're willing to make this exception. And I take that to these clients. Maybe I'll get an insurance quote. Maybe I'll really get a detailed, itemized deal on what the HOA includes or what what the condo association fee includes. I mean, I'm gonna look up something. I'm most certainly gonna send them, if it's in a subdivision or it's a condo development, I'm gonna send them the comps
Yeah, see.
and go, here, start looking at these numbers, start crunching these numbers. Just do stuff for them before they ask.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the greatest ways that we recruit to this company is reaching out to agents and being their broker before we're their broker. Being their real estate coach before they're actually an agent in this company. You'll be their mentor before you're actually technically their mentor.